Take one. Whoa! Oh my gosh, my hair is... I got pretzels in my teeth.
It's doing its own thing.
Oh, look, I got a horn.
Oh, that's definitely gonna be a meme. I just need to sit here.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Stop.
It's
I didn't recurl your hair.
Huh, it's fine. Very cool. Thanks. My hair is like doing its own thing today. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
It's just...
Go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Smile Girl, Don't Be Nervous. I am Juana. I am the mom.
And I'm Esperanza. I'm the daughter.
And we are Smile. So, long time no see. I know it has been a couple months since we have dropped an episode. We took a much needed break to kind of get everything back under control. I feel like there is a lot that has been happening. And if you want to see those updates, go look at the one that we just dropped a little bit before this one. We always want to be pretty authentic and let you guys know like what's going on and what happened. And, you know, we totally want to be real and open and honest with you because I feel like that's pretty rare nowadays. So, oddly enough, we are recording this episode on Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So after here,
Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day!
To you.
So after here, we will be headed over to Anthony's house because that is where we are celebrating Mother's Day. But we just wanted to give a shout out to you and let you know that we do not have any holidays or anything coming up this week, which is crazy because there's usually something going on. But I guess not this week.
Okay.
Anyways, so we are going to jump into this. Spoiler alert warning. We are still on the House of Night series written by PC and Kristen Cast. And this particular book is called Untamed. We do talk about situations that have previously happened and are going to happen. So these are just spoiler alert. It's a spoiler alert warning. So if you have not read the books and you don't want to have any spoilers, pause this and then come back. Right now we are on Untamed, and Shekinah is kind of reprimanding Neferet for not coming to the council before waging war on the humans. Okay, so she is kind of losing her shit, and when she speaks, in the previous episode, when she was speaking, like all of the hairs raise up on your body, because she's just that powerful when she does speak. So the quote is, Shekinah closed her eyes briefly and drew a deep calming breath before she continued speaking in a soothing, understanding tone. Oh no! So context of this, Shekinah has lost her temper, addressing Neferet in her arguments that there was no time to notify the council about her declaration of war on the humans. Shekinah has exclaimed that there is always time for wisdom. And I think that's the title of the last episode, is Time for Wisdom. Shekinah takes the time to take a deep, calming breath to gather her thoughts and her temper before continuing on with the conversation in a soothing, understanding tone to Neferet. She calms herself immediately. This is found in Untamed, page 83. Yes, this does sound familiar because this is one of the episodes that we recorded before we realized that the microphone didn't take.
Okay.
So,
I was like, this.
Yeah. And when we recorded this previously, this was actually, I ended up finding a study on yoga. And so we had that discussion on yoga and the benefits of yoga and deep breathing and stuff like that.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. But I didn't really, while that was a great article and we learned a lot, yoga has so many benefits, from like dropping blood pressure to increasing, oxygen in your brain, which allows the better function of all of your internal organs, right? All the good things. And I know you can't do yoga because you die.
Instantly.
So Mama has a breathing problem.
Why you gotta say it like that, yo? Damn.
forgets to breathe. So you can't forget to breathe when you are in these yoga positions, right? Because you'll pass out. So since she already has POTS, it's so...
It's just not good.
Yeah. So yoga's a struggle for her. But so is breathing.
It's
In general. Just in general.
It's like a death sentence for me to be alive.
But we did get her to calm down with deep breathing, ironically. So
when I was getting arrested?
Yeah. Or when you call me on the phone, or when you need to calm me down. Like, you definitely do deep breathing in order to
chill out.
Get everything back under control.
Yeah. I just can't be in the position, otherwise I'm like...
Then she holds her breath, and then she's like... So, this particular article is found in the March 11, 2024 Clinical Psychology Review. This article is titled, A Meta-Analytic Review of Anger Management Activities That Increase or Decrease Arousal. What Fuels or Douses Rage? By Sophie L. Kjærvik and Brad J. Bushman. So, my question here is how do you handle anger? Like, what do you do when you're mad? What do you do when you're angry?
I don't know. I feel like if I'm like really, really mad, I black out. Because I don't remember a time that I've been like pissed.
Right.
But like when I'm like starting to get frustrated, I step away.
You leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I run away.
So you run. So you're not a fight, you're a flight.
Yeah.
So there's 4, like fight, flight, fawn. Fight, flight, fawn. I can't remember what that last one is. I'm going to have to find it. I will post it for you. There are 4 major ways that people handle like those confrontation things. Yeah. And I will post that for you because apparently I need to relearn it too. So me, I tried to leave. And if I don't get the opportunity to leave, then I fight.
Yeah.
And that is both good and bad. It takes a really long time for me to get angry, but then once I'm there, like...
Everybody's fucked.
Yeah, you have this explosion for like a good 7 to 10 minutes, right?
And if you last that 7 to 10 minutes, you're good. You're great.
But yeah, because then I'm like, are you hungry? You want something to eat?
I'm sorry. What's for dinner? Okay? But if you don't last that 7 to 10 minutes, that's your time.
Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta make it like through that time frame. And then I'm like, it's gone, it's over, like we talk about it later, we have discussions, and then we're good. Like we move on to the next thing.
It's fucking crazy to me.
So, yeah, so this article, so there are 2 different ways, according to this article, that people handle anger, right? So if you think about like the things that you were taught in school, like what were you taught anything in school about how to handle anger or in counseling or anything like that?
No, I was on a behavior plan.
Huh?
I was on a behavior plan, and if you had anger issues... Well, I had a behavioral plan because I just couldn't stop talking. Yeah,
she was Little Miss Social Butterfly.
But, like, I knew people that were on a behavioral plan because of their anger.
Okay.
And I didn't like that.
What were their strategies that they were supposed to use in order to get through that? You don't know. They didn't tell you?
No.
You didn't see anything?
We had the figure 8s.
Is this at Summit?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I was at the behavior.
And like the grade school?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like in the carpet, we had carpet in the letter of a figure 8. And if you were like struggling about something, then you could walk those figure 8s. But other than that, you had to deal with it.
Okay. You didn't learn anything in high school? I figured high school would have been like...
No.
Because y'all had some angry kids in your head. I mean, like, justifiably so, because a lot of those teachers were...
If you got angry at a teacher, then you got detention and written up.
Okay, so it wasn't allowed.
No.
You had to know how to handle it.
You weren't allowed to feel feelings.
Okay, all right. So there are...
Which is why our suicide rate is so high.
Oh my God, yeah. It's crazy.
I think in my class, my graduating class, we had over 17 people commit suicide.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's tragic. So tragic. And so unnecessary.
Yeah.
So unnecessary that they weren't supported enough in this community to make it feel like they mattered.
Yeah.
Right? That's super sad. So there's two main ways that people are supposed to deal with their anger, right? And that is doing something that calms yourself, like the deep breathing or the counting to 10, or, removing yourself from the situation, like grounding yourself. Okay, so there's that way. Then there's the other way where, and Anthony and I do this a lot, where we take a walk, or we go for a run, or we go do some kind of physical activity, or Anthony has like a punching bag, right? And so that is another way to get the anger, right? We've been told that since like the beginning of time. Well, not really the beginning of time, but like, I don't know, since probably the beginning of my generation, is when we started looking at it. Sorry. I don't know what's going on.
I hiccuped. My brain ran too.
So those are the two different ways, right? Have you heard of those ways?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do any of those work for you? No. Have you tried them?
Well, I can't run.
Right.
But my boyfriend runs when he's angry.
Okay.
Or like just feeling some type of way.
Okay.
But I sleep a lot.
You sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm a walker.
Yeah. I can't.
Or a driver. I'm a driver too.
I drive too.
Right.
Yeah.
Road trip, windshield time.
Yep. Or I sleep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's start this discussion with the definition of anger, because those of you that are new, every study has to start out with some definitions. And those of you that have been here, you already know how this goes, so I don't need to explain this to you. But, let's start out with some definitions. The first definition is anger. Like, what is the definition of anger for you?
Well, anger is a secondary emotion.
Anger is a secondary emotion. Not a lot of people know that. What does that mean?
It means that you're having other feelings behind that anger. So whether you're feeling all of my feelings just went in my head.
Like sadness, disappointment.
Yeah, there you go. Irritation, annoyed. So there's other feelings that go behind anger. So all of these mixed emotions make up that anger. It's like secondary colors.
Yeah. That's awesome. Sorry. Okay, no. Yeah, you're good. Okay, so the definition of anger, according to this article, is an emotional response to a real or imagined threat or provocation. Anger varies on a continuum from minimal anger to intense fury and rage. The psychological arousal component of anger also varies on a continuum from little arousal to pronounced sympathetic arousal, increased muscle tension, and released adrenaline.
Okay, next definition. What is arousal?
Arousal means working up.
Okay.
So we had this discussion a little bit ago with Anthony on a previous episode about how those like physiological symptoms come into play when you're talking about feelings, right? And so with anger, like physiological, like bodily response,
yeah.
Right? Okay, so anger is like that increased heart rate, prone to sweating, hands balled into a fist, clammy, your breathing gets a little bit more shallow, like those are the physiological responses of anger. Okay, so it is a natural emotional physiological response primarily defined as negative valence and high has negative valence and high in arousal. And I think that's where it comes into play as society sees anger as a negative thing. right? Do you see, I mean, you said in the schools you weren't allowed to show those emotions.
Well, because I could see it in both ways. Because anger is unpredictable.
Right. Okay.
But also anger and having those other emotions behind anger is what makes you you. What makes you irritated, what makes you annoyed. Like, that's just who you are.
Right.
So you have to know those things in order to control it.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that comes with knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And so do you think anger dissipates as you get older then? Going along with that?
No, because you can't control what other people are going to do.
Okay, so that's with the provocation,
Yeah.
right? If they're like provoking you, like, hey,
Yeah.
right? Okay, all right. So I think society defines.
I think angering with your, like, being mad at yourself can change as you grow older.
Okay, because you
no.
give yourself like more grace.
Or, like, you just learn not to do those things. That's a lesson.
Right.
But not with other people. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're totally good. I think society thinks that anger is not supposed to be shown.
I just
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't like that
I don't
at
either.
all. Because, especially for like younger, like a lot of people don't like dealing with teenagers. And I love dealing with teenagers. They don't like dealing with teenagers because teenagers' feelings are so raw, right? I mean, they're very real. I mean, like, if you find a teenager in love, of course, like, that is like the biggest love of their life. And it's just the most amazing thing. And that's right. They're totally right about that. It's because that is very real. It's raw. It's uninhibited. Like, it's all of those things, right? But then, society, as you go and then you get hurt and you get jaded, like, all of that kind of, like, dissipates as you get older, right? And so that's why I like dealing with teenagers, is because that is as real as you're going to get, right? Yeah. That is, like, the realest of the real there. And they're not going to lie to you.
My favorite thing is, like, the toddlers in love.
Oh my goodness.
They're so fucking cute.
When they show up with, like, all dressed up.
And, like, showing up at, like, their door with flowers.
Yeah.
Like,
they're like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Like, how real is that? You don't see that anymore.
Yeah. It's that, like, very pure, innocent.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think we can learn a lot from kids in having those pure emotions. I mean, whenever I think of anger, it makes me giggle because the first story that I think of anger is Jesus in the temple, and he is just raging. He's flipping over tables and kicking everybody out of the temple, right? So if you believe in the Bible and you believe in Jesus and God, if Jesus can experience anger,
then we can.
Then it's acceptable for everybody else too. But I mean, I think of like other people, like Lilith and, Eve and all of the other gods, Krishna, like Krishna's she don't play. She does not play, and she will fuck you up, and so it's just those things. Like if you look at, gods and Greek mythology and, even if you look in the Wicca belief, you have Hecate or Hecate, however you want to say it, however your pronunciation is, and then you've got Frida, through the Valhalla stuff, like, so there's all of these really strong women, Athena is the god of war, like that is generally done by anger or love, either or.
Right.
And so I think those really strong women we tend to look down on because of the anger when they're using it for something else.
Right, and I automatically go to like Medusa.
Yeah, right? Dude, she, like, the worst story ever, right?
Yeah, and people just see her as this angry person turning people into stone.
But what happened to get her to that point?
She was cursed.
She was raped.
And she was raped.
Trigger warning.
Sorry.
So, yeah, like, there's so many things that happen before that need to be really looked at before you just start looking at, oh, you're angry.
Yeah.
What? Do you know how I got here? Let's talk about how I got here first. You know what I mean? Like, So I think that anger is a defense mechanism for you that your body does automatically in order to keep you safe.
Right.
I fully believe that. So anger arouses and preserves high-level energy, quickly increases motoric mobility, and directs blood to the muscles to prepare the body for action. Thus, anger makes people feel stronger and more prepared to attack, fight, or assault the cause of the anger. And that goes back to, like evolution part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're defending your wife, you're defending your kids, you're defending, your family. You're, as a wife, as a mother, you're defending your kids, you're defending your husband, back when everybody used to fight about everything. That was the thing. That's what you did. You fought for your lives all the time, against animals and the weather, and anger is very useful in those things because it gives you you think about the mothers who are lifting like tractors off of their kids, and that superhuman strength, you get that because
you're mad.
It's a need to protect, it's a protection thing. So I think that it's definitely helpful in some spots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the cognitive behavioral theory focuses on altering the cognitive distortions and irrational beliefs that leads a person to respond to an event with anger. Several meta-analyses have already shown that cognitive behavior therapy is an effective anger management treatment. Now, I know that was a lot of big words. Did you pick up what was said there?
Not a damn thing.
Okay, all right. So cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, okay, is generally what counseling is, right? Okay. And so it's just changing those thought processes in order to help you see a scenario a different way, okay? That's just what counseling is, right?
Right.
So this is saying that a lot of meta-analysis, the group studies, right, peer-reviewed studies, and it's been studied over and over and over again, that cognitive behavioral therapy is a way to effectively deal with anger, right? Because you're learning how to reprocess it and re-see situations in a different way, in a different light, okay? So that has already been proven to be an effective way to deal with anger, right? Okay. That's why you have like the anger management classes and the groups and stuff, like that has been shown effective. Okay, so we're going to go into the study knowing that that is a fact. We already know that cognitive behavior therapy is established as a way to handle anger. Okay, right. So we're just going to accept that truth. Okay, so are you okay? Are you dying on me?
That seasoning went in my throat.
Oh yeah, dude, it's tacos. The tacos are trying to kill you,
bro.
Okay, so there are two angers. Okay, I didn't know this until I read this article. So the first is state anger. It's like state, like the state of Wyoming. So state anger. So state anger refers to an emotional physiological experience of anger that is temporary, occasional, and related to the immediate situation. Okay? So that's like, he hit me, I'm mad. Right? That's your current state. Okay? Then there's trait anger. Like traits, like human traits, like biology. So trait anger refers to a stable tendency to experience state anger more frequently and intensely across situations. So this is like your being, right? We know those like angry people that are just angry all the time.
Right.
For no reason.
Right.
And it's just the like genetic part of them, right? Like we know people like this. Like Renz is the first one that comes to my mind, right? The old guy from Monster House.
Yeah.
Right? That lives across.
Well, no, he was mad because his wife.
Because of his wife. Right. So okay, so you're right, that's more of a state, but that kind of turned into a trait.
Yeah.
Right?
He was known as angry.
Right. Your angry guy that lives down the lawn that doesn't want you, like, walking on his side of the sidewalk. Right?
Yeah.
So those,
God,
like, there's a different, I know, I'm like, what is in this room, So there's two different, okay, so there's the state anger and then the trait anger, okay? So hostility is another thing that needs to be considered in all of this. And hostility Jesus. Refers to a cognitive aspect of anger separate from physiological arousal and overt behavior. So I think this describes it a little bit better. So anger, so there's a difference between hostility and anger. Do you know the difference? No. Can you even guess?
No.
Okay, all right. So anger is primarily associated with an intense emotion characterized by physiological arousal and a strong desire to confront the source of perceived harm or wrongdoing. He hit me, so I'm going to go beat him up. Right? He hit me, I'm going to go tell mom. Right? That's anger.
Okay.
Okay. So hostility... Oh, yikes. Was that your ankle?
No, that was my knee.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so hostility refers to a more enduring and pervasive disposition characterized by a general negative outlook towards others. Hostility is often more reflective of beliefs and attitudes. Okay? So hostility, in reading this, is more toward the racism and prejudiceness, right?
For
you
hostility?
are intentionally being hostile to somebody else, right? Not that you're not being intentional when you're being angry with somebody, but this is like from a belief standpoint,
right.
Not because of something that has happened to you, right? And so that's where the idea of prejudiceness comes in. Okay, and join us for our next episode because we will be going into quite the conversation about prejudiceness because we will be talking about 9/11 next week. So, yes. So, if you want a more involved discussion about that, join us next week because we will be talking about that. Okay, so anger is an internal emotion, whereas aggression is an external behavior. Right? So when you use that aggression with your hostility, that's like, those are actions, right? Whereas anger is an internal emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So aggression refers to any form of behavior directed toward the goal of harming or injuring another living being who is motivated to seek such treatment, right? And so that's where that aggression and hostility are generally paired together. Okay? So under high levels of arousal, anger can interfere with task performance and cognitive processes and cause more impulsive reactions. Can you give me an example of this?
I'm sorry. I was writing notes.
No,
Can you repeat that?
Under high levels of arousal, anger can interfere with task performance and cognitive processes and cause more impulsive reactions. Okay, so when I can think of one particular time when I was so angry that it stopped my cognitive function. Okay? And that was when I was throwing dishes at Anthony. Okay? And the time frame was over, right? And so I was making dinner. And I was like, oh my God, what happened to my pot? Right? Because it was, a stock pot, right? That, you make like macaroni in, and it was like all bent in, so instead of like a circle it was like beep. Right? And so I'm like, the fuck happened to my pot? And Anthony comes in and he's like, that's the one you threw at me. And I was like, oh man, I didn't even know I grabbed this. I'm so Bobby, that was on me.
You threw
right? Or when I broke your cup,
cup.
And I was just like, right, so I gotta. Yeah, I owe
She
you a
owes
cup.
me 2 cups
I
now.
owe you 2 cups.
Because she broke my ramen bowl.
That was totally by accident. I swear I committed suicide. It just jumped right out of the, just right off of the shelf. And I was like, I don't even know, what happened.
There was no reason
just,
for him to want to commit suicide.
Disintegrated, shattered. I was like, I know I'm missing some pieces because disintegrated. It was wild.
Mom calls me, so I hope you know I love you. I'm like, oh fuck, what'd you do?
You broke your cup. I'm so sorry.
No. That's always how I know that you've done some fucked up shit. So I hope you know I love you.
Because you gotta start out with that. So you won't be so mad.
I feel like that's manipulation, Mom.
Probably.
God.
Alright, so can you give me a time when you were that mad?
No, because every time I'm that mad, I black out.
Okay. Yeah, blacking out is a thing.
Yeah.
Blacking out is a thing. I know a lot of people, I've heard stories about the things that I've done, and I'm like, ooh, I don't remember that at all.
Dude, when you talked to Angel.
Oh, yeah.
You said, you fucking bitch. I was like, oh, shit. You said, shut the fuck up.
First of all, don't mess with my kids.
Yeah.
Second of all, don't come in acting like you know ancient history on what happened in between me and one of my kids' dads. Like, you just don't get to come into the situation and tell me how it went or how it was going to continue on. You just don't
Mom
get
said,
to do
shut the fuck up.
Okay, first of all, in my defense, I was showing up to the meeting and I wasn't going to say a single thing. I wasn't going to say a single thing until she came at me. I was just watching. You were holding your own. I was literally there for you.
Dude, you were just chilling eating a bowl of ice cream.
I was just eating my ice cream. Like, legit. I'm just like, with my bowl, I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, okay, shit.
And then she said, Juana, if you have anything to say, go ahead and pipe up. I was like, oh, shit.
Ma'am.
Here we go.
No.
Aw, shit.
You don't get to talk to me like that and then expect nothing to happen afterwards.
Yeah.
Especially when I eat my damn ice cream. By the time I got back to it, it was all melted. I was mad.
I
was mad. I was like, dude! His Blue Bunny ice cream is some good shit, man.
I was like, Mommy told her to shut the fuck up. I did what?
And I was like, I don't remember that at all. Nope.
I was like, oh, I heard it loud and clear. Because I had to go. Nope. I panicked and was like having a severe panic attack during that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then he was being rude to Auntie.
Yeah, no.
And that's when I started to fucking get pissed.
Yeah. I think I kind of like took over that whole conversation after that because I was just mad. And I was like, you ain't fixing to come up in here and talk to everybody else who has been here the whole time any kind of way.
Yeah.
No. No.
Don't mind my Chicago readboard.
Anyways.
She's already gone.
Okay, yeah, so that definitely interferes into your cognitive function, right? Because there's a lot of things that happen that you don't remember afterwards, right? And so that
not eating that great
impairs your thought process as to what's actually happening. And so you don't remember things or you do things that are wildly out of character. And I've done those things. So
I don't really get angry. I'm not an angry. I am an angry person. But I try not to be.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm not trying to kill everybody in sight.
Yeah, but I think the problem is you have repressed feelings. And so they're showing itself in other ways.
Yeah.
Right? So going back to what you said about ages, and this is why I asked. So research indicates that anger decreases with age. With the with the highest levels of decrease at ages of 30 to 50 and the lowest levels after 80. Which is crazy to me because if you meet any woman going through menopause,
you're mad as fuck.
You know that rage is like off the fucking charts, okay?
I mean,
like we be trying to kill everybody. Legit. In between me and Shauna, like we could annihilate cities with no question.
You guys are going through mood pots though.
I think we're like Perry, like the beforehand. So, because that rage is real. I feel like a teenager sometimes.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah, it's wild. Okay, so for arousal decreasing activities, there was no considerable difference between anger, aggression, and hostility measures. Decreasing arousal is an essential part of anger treatment neglected in cognitive behavioral therapy. And so, I will explain that here in a minute. Okay. So, relaxation can also support the development of greater self-awareness, improve responses in stressful situations, and help individuals develop more effective coping strategies for managing angering situations. In addition, relaxation reduces heart rate and blood pressure, which can reduce the experience of anger and hostility. Okay, so now we're going to get into the findings of this because I found this really, really super interesting, and it's counterintuitive to what you've always been told in what makes sense, right? Because to me, if you have aggression and anger, in order to get that out, you have to do an aggressive activity.
Okay.
Right? Like punching a bag or going for a run. You know, those are all aggressive things to your body. Right? Whereas relaxation, before, I was like, that's not enough. It's not enough. Right? Like, deep breathing for me doesn't work because I will deep breath before I fucking punch you in your shit. Right? Like, that doesn't... The deep breathing just does... The counting to 10, I'm like, 1, 10, done. Yep. Sold. Okay? Like,
go. Now I'm punching your shit.
I counted to 10.
My turn. Actually, your turn because you're going to be a pain.
You know, the counting doesn't work for me. The deep breaths don't work for me. Like, I have to go. If I'm at that level, I have to go.
Right.
Right? But then, like, once I'm, like, calm, and then I've, like, rage talked myself out of it.
Literally.
Then I can come back and be like, okay, look. Here's what happened. We're moving on from that because if I focus on that, I'm going to fucking choke you out. Here's what happened, and here's how we're going to deal with it next time. Right? And then we have those conversations. Mm-hmm. So I went into this article thinking that those aggressive activities were necessary in order to de-escalate the situation. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, but I don't, like, I'm not really an aggressive, I'm an angry person, but I'm not an aggressive person.
Right, because there is a difference, obviously. Right.
So,
okay.
I don't really do, like, aggressive things when I'm angry, though.
Okay. Yeah, because you cry.
Hard.
Yeah, I do too. Right. But I cry because I'm trying to talk myself out of killing you.
Right. I'm crying because I'm 9 times out of 10 overwhelmed.
Right.
But, like, even when I do have, like, those aggressive thoughts, I don't have to do an aggressive activity after.
Okay. All right.
I sleep.
Yeah. That's like the ultimate calming activity. Yeah. Right? So, this article is saying, in studies that used arousal increasing activities, outcome measures of anger, hostility, and aggression were all non-significant. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, non-significant means very small.
Right.
Okay? So jogging in particular elevated anger.
That pissed me off more.
And the reason why they say it elevates anger is because it's a repetitive motion, and so you get frustrated with the repetitiveness of it.
That makes sense.
And I was like, okay, yeah, like that totally makes sense, right? So ball sports like soccer, volleyball, basketball, physical education classes like group sports and games, and aerobic exercise like different types of cardio combined decreased anger, right?
It's all different.
So that makes sense to me because if we're angry and we go to a dance class, when we get out of the class, we're like, here.
Yeah, we're
right?
saying hi.
Like, we're good. We're like, okay, yeah, that's cool. All right, like, it's fine. It's just, you know, it's whatever. But, like, I went to go dancing and it's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. So the findings suggest that decreasing physiological arousal can effectively decrease anger and aggression, whereas increasing arousal does not. Overall, these results underscore the value of incorporating physiological arousal reduction techniques such as breathing, relaxation, meditation, yoga, and mindfulness into anger management programs. Right, so those anger management programs focus on that CBT, mm-hmm. right, that cognitive behavioral therapy. They don't include any of the
jogging,
the breathing, relaxation, meditation, yoga, and mindfulness, because it's just a thought process that they're focused on. They're not incorporating any of the other things that can reduce that arousal in your physiological response.
Right.
They're just looking at thoughts. Well,
right.
You need to change your thoughts on this. You need to see this a different way. But if they incorporate that reduction of the physiological responses, then that's going to be a huge step up into reducing the anger overall.
Right.
Right? Okay. So effects were found, and this was the crazy part of it. Oh my gosh, you killed the on-air site.
Sorry.
Dang. I just put new batteries in him.
I know.
Okay, so this was the crazy thing for me because this study, obviously, I will post the link in the show notes. As I always say, go read the studies itself because there's a lot of things that are covered in these stories that we don't necessarily cover in the episodes, right? And so this particular study talked about criminals and non-criminals, like the difference between those people in their anger level, right? Whether or not they were...
That was another thought of mine because we know a few criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in 9 times out of 10, they did it because of anger.
Okay.
I'm not going to throw out names, but we...
Okay.
K, R,
right.
H. Yeah.
Right.
They did it all out of anger.
Yep.
So, if you're that angry, I feel like there's no way for me, like, for them to be like, okay, well, I'm going to relax. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to go for a volleyball game. You know what I mean? Like, that's just
my way out of this.
That's just
right.
not something that you're going to think about when you're that fucking angry.
Right. Right. So...
Due to other people's actions.
Right. Right. But there's a lot of things that came before that with K, R, and H. There was a lot of things that happened pre that situation that they didn't have those cognitive abilities to do so.
Right.
They didn't have those skills through CBT in order to be like, hey, like, maybe I should take a break from this. Right. Or, hey, like, maybe I should, take a second and go talk to my wife or my girlfriend or whatever about it. Or maybe I should take a second to go for a drive. They weren't taught those skills before they did their things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, and I think a large majority of that is kind of like your school. Those feelings weren't allowed to be expressed. Society doesn't allow those feelings to be expressed. And so we as a society also don't know how to handle those feelings when they do come up. Right? When you guys were little, you guys were not allowed to express anger. So now you guys don't know how to express that in a healthy way. Right? And that's because I didn't know how to express anger. Right? I had my rages and my explosions and, the abuse, like that was how I dealt with it. And that wasn't right either. And it wasn't until later that I learned how to deal with those emotions effectively. Still trying to learn how to deal with some of those emotions. But anger is one that I can say that I now have a handle on. So this study talks about like criminals, non-criminals, whether the behavior was provoked or non-provoked, whether or not you're provoked? Like it was like someone intentionally came and did something to you to make you angry. Whether you were a student, your age, your race, like they looked at all of these different things in this study. And effects were found for both group and individual treatments. Trait and state anger measures, all types of reports in both field and laboratory settings, in students and non-students, in criminal offenders and non-offenders, in participants with and without intellectual disabilities, and in all genders, races, and ages. All of this still held true. Yeah. So whether you were in a group session or an individual session or in a laboratory or in the real world or a student or a non-student or criminal, non-criminal, based on age ranges, based on all races, based on cultures, based on whether or not it was state anger or trait anger that we talked about earlier. Intellectual disabilities.
I think I glued my thing shut.
I thought so intellectual abilities, I didn't even think about that, but they did look at that to see, if on the level of intelligence, your state of mind, any mental deficiencies or anything like that. It was all found that all of these things still came into play. So still having that meditation, relaxation, yoga, mindfulness, all made a huge impact on how somebody handles anger and decreases those physiological responses to that.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to implement this into my life now, though.
I don't know, because I feel like I don't get angry, like, very often.
You get really frustrated.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
And when I get frustrated, I try to, like, and then I keep doing it. And so I just throw things a lot. Which, not to point fingers, but I probably learned that from
me. With my blue hands. That's all explained in the previous video that I just released.
You know what I mean? Like, I throw things a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I cry a lot.
Do you think anger coping abilities are learned?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think just through time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because, like, I've never, like, really, like, attacked somebody due out of anger. I don't think. No, I didn't attack him. I leave a lot. And even, like, with the officer talking to me at Octavia's, like, I was angry.
Right.
For so many different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't attack the officer, I attacked the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But then I told him I was leaving. And I left the room.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really attack.
I do.
I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so scared, like, with how bad our anger is.
Yeah, which is why I don't like getting into fights.
Yeah. With all three of us. Our anger is so bad.
It's very explosive.
That I'm terrified I'm going to kill somebody with how bad our anger gets. So that's why I don't fight. Yeah. The only fight I've ever been in, she came after me.
She messed you up, man.
From behind.
She came on, she had a big old goose egg. I was like, the fuck happened to you?
Like, she fucking grabbed my hoodie, or my coat, like, hood, fucking pulled me down, slammed my head into the basketball court, got on top of me, and almost punched me, and then Anthony came and grabbed her off me. Only fight I've ever been in.
He has always been super aware of what's going on. And all the things.
I didn't know he was on the playground.
He was watching you.
He's always watching me.
I know. Like, he watches me too, and I'm like, oh, how are you so quiet?
Dude's like
so big.
Okay,
he's so
there's no
quiet.
reason why you should be able to show up in my house and I have no idea that you're there.
And he's standing like right here. And you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. He's like, oh,
I
hey.
hear you. And I
You
hear
about stabbed
everything.
Yeah.
I hear everything.
Dude, Mom about stabbed me with a pencil.
I know. That was protection mode. That was not anger mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently she didn't hear me pull up in the driveway. I came in through the house. And I see her at the end of the fucking hallway. She's like, oh my god. And I was like, do you have a fucking pencil in your hand?
I didn't even know. Legit didn't even know. I was doing work on my bed and didn't even know that I had grabbed like a pencil. Like, this is what was handy, I guess.
Hey, that's a genius spot.
Yeah, it is. So, what can you implement from this point on, or what have you seen work about anger? Like, tell me some anger stories for you.
I don't think I have the best.
Okay, let me clarify that. Tell me some anger stories that would be lessons to our viewers out there.
I don't know. I push out so much out of my brain.
Okay.
Oh my god. Do you remember when I was trying to put my bed together in the Q trailer in Cheyenne, and nobody would help me?
Oh yeah, yeah. I do remember that.
So I fucking threw everything into the hallway.
Yep. But your bed was set up after that.
Yeah.
It was like way set. I mean, it was like all the way set up. Like you had pieced it together, got all the screws, and like put it together, and then set it up.
Yeah, my room was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice.
And then I got my ass handed to me because the apartment was trashed.
Yeah.
By John.
Yeah.
But didn't I tell... Oh, and then... Wow. Man, this guy's a piece of shit. And then when he tried to kill Boo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got really mad at that one.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
I attacked him.
Yeah, rightfully so.
I attacked him. That was the only thing I've ever attacked. I attacked him.
Mm-hmm. You wanna explain that to the audience a bit?
So... Boo was a crawler. And, like,
Boo was a cat.
Yeah.
We will find a photo, and so you can see her. She was a tortoise cat.
Mm.
She's a tortie, and she was super vocal and
tiny.
Super protective.
And she was small.
Super protective, yeah.
And we taught her how to climb on us.
Crazy. Yeah, so Anthony taught her how to parakeet.
Yep.
So Anthony would walk into the house, and he'd be like, come on, Boo. And she would jump up on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And that was just something that she was taught since she was teeny tiny baby. Like,
and we've
brand
taught
new.
Basically all of our cats how to do that because it's a protection thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my ankle's hurting.
Yeah, okay.
And Boo got confused, and thought John was Anthony.
Yes.
When he walked in the house, and she went to do what she was taught to do, and climbed up his back, because he took too long to pick her up, which normally we would pick them up and put them up on our shoulder. So she climbed up, and scratched all down his back, and he was like, oh my fucking god, and like went to grab her, and she luckily jumped off just in time. Mm-hmm. And she ran to the very end of the trailer, which was your guys' room, and hid underneath the bed, and he was running after her, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. I kicked open Anthony's door because he had it locked.
Yeah, so they had Jack and Jill, a Jack and Jill bathroom.
So I didn't even go through my room. In the hallway, I fucking busted through his door, and I said, Anthony, get up, John is attacking your cat. And it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was still sleeping, so I was already pissed about that, because I already did all the chores. So, busted in his room, screamed at him, continued, somehow I did that all in like 2 seconds. And still had time to catch John before he got to Boo, and grabbed his head, pulled it back, went like this, got in front of him, stood in the door, and I said, you touch that cat, I will kill you. And he's like, you won't fucking touch me. So I punched him in the stomach, and he backed off. And he's like, all right. And that's all I remember from that. Anthony was still sleeping through that whole thing.
Those superpowers when we get angry.
The only another one that I think about is Aaron.
I like teleported. I still don't know,
Dude, I don't know
how.
Yeah, you should tell that story.
I had an ex that I actually left that guy for.
Yeah.
And moved back home to this trailer. And when you come into the front door, which I think is supposed to be the back door.
It's the front because the driveway.
So it's the door right off the driveway. You come up the stairs, you come into the door, and there's a washer and dryer and washer. And then if you step through this little, like, the washer and dryer, like, width, there's a room, and that's Justin's room now. And then there's a small, you like turn, and then it goes into a narrow hallway into the kitchen, and then it opens up into the kitchen, dining room, living room area. Mm-hmm. So I was arguing with this ex, and he was totally wasted, and there was a winter storm outside, and he wanted to go sleep out in the field outside for...
Well wasted.
I don't even know why. Whatever. Anyways, I was blocking the door because I was like, no, like, you can't go outside. Like, it's not safe. You are going to die out there. You can't sleep out there. There's a winter storm going on. And he tried to get through me to get to the door. So we're, struggling. Mama is at the end of the hallway.
To make sure you're okay.
In between the door and the kitchen area. So she's in this space about like this big, right?
If that.
And so we're going back and forth, and I was like, no, like, you're not going to go outside. He's trying to get to the door. He ends up backing up, and Mama is standing in the entrance to the kitchen. And he tried, I don't remember how, but he ended up getting pushed to the bedroom door. So the bedroom door...
shoulder checked me.
The bedroom door flew open because he went back.
Yeah, because he shoulder checked me, and so I pushed him.
Okay, right. And so he went to shoulder check you again, and somehow I ended up from in front of the front door to past him, around her, in the kitchen with her behind me. I don't know if I pushed you behind me.
Yeah.
But I don't remember how I got there.
I don't know.
I just remember being at the door.
And you watched me push him through the door.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you were in front of me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and
I got this, bro. Just hold on.
Like, yeah, I don't.
You gotta let him attack me.
No, not when my kids are involved. Like, you just don't touch my kids.
Yeah, because he shoulder checked me, and so I fought. I didn't fight on that one. I fought, and I pushed him back, and that's when he flew into the door.
And then he came.
Back again. And then you were right there.
Yeah. I don't remember how I made it from there to there in that sort of a time.
I don't know either. Because that's like a good 4 or 5 steps.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, oh, no. And then I would.
Yeah. That's what I thought was that. Oh, no, he did not thought he just shoulder checked me. And then I was like, well, he's back up. Let's go.
Yeah. It was a crazy situation. Domestic violence, domestic abuse, any of those domestic situations, those are such a very hostile situation, and if you are in any one of those, please reach out for help, talk to a trusted adult, call the police, whatever you need to do. That situation was resolved by the police. The sheriffs did show up, and they did come take him away eventually because he started fighting with the police and started getting aggressive with them, and then he ended up going to jail. But if you are ever in those situations are not ever okay. We are not condoning any of that kind of behavior. These are just examples of how anger and your cognitive abilities and your physical and your physiological abilities really ramp up when those defense situations come in. So that is not healthy in any way, shape, or form. So please don't take these stories as...
And we're laughing
lightly.
Now because they're solved.
They're solved. It's all over. It was situations that happened.
And it's things that we can look back and be like, whoa, like I did that.
Yeah, and they were some real growing processes that we had to go through and experience in order to learn the lessons that we needed to. I'm so glad that this is a futon because we actually have like space to like move around and stuff. So I these are not funny stories, it was just, and
it's caused trauma.
Deal with trauma in a very
comical way.
And these are things that we have worked through. So I know that they may be triggers for those audiences out there. So please do what you need to for self-care. And once again, if you are in any of those types of situations, please reach out for help. There are lots of agencies out there, trusted people that you can reach out to that won't judge you and will not push you away in order to get through those situations.
I am the owner of the Instagram, and I have been in one of those situations. So if you need help, please get a hold of me.
Yes, we are easily reachable through any of our social media pages, or our phone numbers. If you happen to have those, we would be more than happy to help you in order to get out of those situations. We have been there. We know what it's like. I, as a mom with kids, them with kids as a single mom, we have lots of different perspectives that we can help walk you through. So I'm not saying that we are registered counselors, but we do know services and stuff that you can reach out to, especially here in Casper. So please, if you are in a domestic violence or relationship situation, whether it be financial, sexual, physical, mental, psychological, we understand it all. We do. And so just please reach out to anybody to get out of those situations, because there is better. There's better, I assure you. So scary. It's scary, and it's hard. It's hard. It's dangerous. It is dangerous.
But it's worth it.
And you can do it. So that being said, join us for our next episode where we talk about fear and bigotry.
In 9/11.
This is Mama's jam. This is like her piece of history that she is all about. Hers is 9/11 and mine is the Holocaust. So we will be having lots of discussions about those times in history. So very, very, very loud and prominent trigger warnings for next week's episode. Those are both issues that we are passionate about. Again, we have a lot of passions. So any questions, comments, concerns, email or message on YouTube or any of our other social media pages. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have email. Our email is smilegirl.be-nervous@gmail.com. There is no apostrophe. And it's all one word. No dashes, no periods, no spaces, no punctuation. It's just smilegirl.be-nervous@gmail.com. If you have our phone numbers, reach out to us. Once again, we are always looking for speakers, so if you want to be involved and come join us on our nice, comfy little futon we've got here.
And you have to put my leg up on you.
We would love to hang out with you and have some real great conversations with you. We really want to see and learn other perspectives and get those other perspectives out there, because those open communications is what is going to change our world, and we are all about it. So big shout out to Justin Bragg. Thank you for being a sponsor and allowing us to put together this room. This is a beautiful, beautiful room that we will be putting up a video a little bit later.
I'm working on it.
That's all her.
I'm working on it.
Until then, we will see you next week. Have a fabulous, wonderful week. The weather is warming up, and so I think we're supposed to be 50s to 70s this next week, and so I'm super excited. And I won't be able to wear shorts. I know. I won't be able to wear shorts because my legs are blue. But I am super excited to have the warm weather coming in. So I am so over winter. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Join us next week at Smile Girl Don't Be Nervous. Same time, same place. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.